Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from the Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. Well, technically this evening, I'm not going to be your friendly dungeon master. I'm going to be your friendly judge. Because you see, tonight, we're actually going to be going, way back in the Wayback Machine and playing a game that has been out of print for about 20 years. And me. Hey, that's enough. Sorry, folks. We are playing the old Marvel Superheroes game that was published by TSR starting back in the early 80s. The version we're playing is the advanced set. And I guess first off, so I don't think any of you guys have actually played this before, right?
No.
Nice. Okay. I haven't run this for about 25 years. So I've played this since one time. Actually, Steve, you have played this once when at Brent's Gaming Stag, like years ago.
Oh my goodness!
You were remote and didn't have access to the books and whatnot. So, for those who are unfamiliar with it, this. I'm going to be right back, guys. I want you guys chat amongst yourselves as to who you're playing. I'm going to go close the window so that she stops freaking out.
Okay.
Yo, did you want me to play your love interest, Jeff?
It doesn't matter to me. Good. We can have some. Sounds like there's a potential proposal in the works here too. So, could it really be your favor by the end of the session, Steve?
You're pretty serious about this girl.
Oh yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so the game was published from about mid to early 80s up until the early 90s, and then the TSR or maybe it was Wizards of the Coast at that time, they decided to change it up and release a different game. But this is something I played a great deal when I was a kid. It's one of the easiest role-playing games to teach to players once you master the core mechanic, which is using the universal table. I think what we'll do is we'll dive into the mechanics as they come up rather than the going through an explanation, because it is a fucking cinch to learn this game. For the setting, for those who are listening at home, you may notice in the description of this, we're playing in the MCU. So what we're actually going to be playing is a Marvel. It's going to be set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the setting of this starts in the first adventure will start in 2010. So this is going to be before Tony Stark has actually come out as Iron Man. And the super team that we're going to be playing is Canada's premier super team, Alpha Flight, created by John Byrne, and I think Chris Claremont had a hand in it as well. But we're going to be introducing this stuff in a bit of a cinematic format, treating this like an ongoing series, as if it was a TV series. So we've talked about this before. We went live as well, too, and all the players are going to have a kind of a character that is their core character who counts as one of our main characters. But because it's a superhero game and because the system is fairly simple, we're going to be playing this in kind of an ensemble way. So players will be playing different characters depending on what scene or what session we're playing. So tonight, I think you guys may have done the introductions already, but we've got Arlen playing Puck. We got James playing Jeff. Jeff is playing James Hudson, and Steve-O is playing Roger Box. And as is appropriate for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we have done some casting of the very best of young Hollywood. So what we've cast is as let's see here. I'll go from left to right here. So first, as Eugene Puck Judd, we have cast the very cool Ben Foster. As the resident Canadian genius, James Hudson, we have cast, what is his name? Adam Brody.
Damn, he's handsome.
He's damn handsome. Got to get those girls in the seats too, right? So, and then as the resident kind of smartass and comic relief, we have cast as Roger Box, Tyler Labine. And you may remember him from, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. and a bunch of other stuff where he's pretty funny. And then last but not least, the sweetie for James, and also, to be honest, one of the co-inventors of what will become the Guardian supersuit is Heather McNeil, and we've got Lauren Ambrose playing as Heather McNeil. Okay, so guys, with all of that stuff said, let's start with a cutscene. So what we see, first off, I guess, is what we hear. We hear it's a black screen, and there is the sound of howling winds. And then that sound added to that sort of, blowing and cacophonous sound, we hear the with a crack of thunder. And then we hear another low explosion sound. And as we sort of fade in, we can see there's this, almost like complete whiteout of blizzard. And we hear this, the sound of boots moving through snow. And there's someone moving along. And there's a figure moving through this almost near whiteout. And as the camera moves back and this character moves a little further forward, we can see that this character has a big fur cloak that's pulled up over its head, that drapes down behind it, and it's supporting itself on this tall staff. And though it's difficult to see in the snow, what we can see, especially when the lightning flashes above before the thunder hits, is that there's all these intricate carvings that have been placed in this thing. It's almost as if it's like a stylized, old piece of like driftwood colored, like kind of white with traces of brown in it. But the whole thing is carved as if it was some kind of like totem pole. And this character is moving along, and it goes up to the very top, and there's a sort of like T thing that almost looks like, in comparison to how incredibly intricately designed the rest of the staff is, it seems noticeably bare, as if, and it's sort of like a T, almost like a perch. And this character seems to be struggling, as it's making its way along here. And what do you call it? So as the camera pulls back a little further, we hear that thunder crash again, and we can see that in addition to the snow falling, there are cinders that are falling as well too, like as if there was little trailers of coal, like lit coal, falling through the sky, going down, and above the whole sky is there's a massive thunderstorm that's filling up the darkened sky. This character, kind of makes his way to the crest of the ridge that he's walking along, and he looks down, and what you can see is a sprawling landscape, desolate, full of nearly completely whited out from the blowing snow and the falling cinders. And we see the source of the cinders because right ahead of him, at the far end of the valley, this enormous volcano explodes, throwing chunks of brilliant orange magma into the air and landing down. Though even the very earth itself trembles beneath him. He turns, and we see him making his way down the ledge. The scene cuts, and we see this character moving in to a very small cleft in the wall. And he's making his way down into this narrow canyon that seems to lead in somewhere. As he makes his way along, the cinders are now just falling, and you can't tell whether this is ashes or if this is snow that's falling down. It doesn't matter, but the floor is completely, of the canyon, completely covered in this stuff. And this person continues to drift along, and then he throws his head back, or his head, the head covering back, and we see it's actually not a him. It's a woman, and it's a woman who is, she's a very, very dark-skinned black woman, and she's got long hair that's sort of chunked into kind of braids. And around her neck, we can see there's a bunch of like mystical kind of like gewgaws and stuff like that. And she's wrapped up in heavy leather with fur-trimmed clothing. It looks very primitive, in comparison to modern age. But what we see is that she stops and she's studying a wall. And as she gestures, there's this mystic kind of like thing that appears around her. It has a distinctive kind of greenish glow to it. And there are totemic signs that we can see hidden in the symbols there. And when she casts that, we see the wall itself that stands before her, the cliff wall, kind of splits open. And there is an opening leading inside, and there's a light that's coming from within. And she starts making her way in. And she walks into the structure. And as she walks in, we see the thing closes behind her. And we see white lettering across the screen. And what it says, the Great White North. And then we cut and we see this same woman move in, down this sort of lit. It's a much warmer atmosphere in here. We can see that there's the soft orange flickering light that comes from torches or campfires. And she moves through into this cavern. And in this cavern, it is full of men and women who look very similar to what she does. All of them are dressed, in very kind of what you would think of as like shamanic, clothing, but from 100 different cultures, all very ancient cultures. There are, the ancient Lapps, from the northernmost of Europe. There are deep, savanna dwelling shaman and mystic women. There are mystics and spirit talkers from the steppes of northern Asia, and you can see every single one of them kind of gets up as this woman walks in, and we can hear them speaking in a bunch of different languages as well. We can't understand what's being said, but we can see what the meaning is from the subtitles, and the subtitles are telling us, they're saying, "World shaman, world shaman, world shaman, you've returned. Where have you been?" And they're all sort of clamoring and trying to get her attention. And she gestures and she says, "I have been about. I have been finding allies. I have been in search of allies," she says. And one of the shamans steps forward. He's got crystal blue eyes, pale blue skin, greasy kind of hair pulled back into a ponytail. And he says, "The great beasts, they stand ready to destroy all." And she says, I know. I have sought allies." And she's about to finish her sentence when we see on the, basically against one of the walls, it begins to see these sparks flying off from it. And then the sparks begin to spin around the wall, and they're forming a circle. And it opens up. And what we see beyond the circle is this sprawling desert behind which there is a massive city full of sandstone buildings in cube kind of shapes. And through this open sort of portal steps a man. And the man is Arabic, in look, or a little more refined features, I think. A hawk-like nose, dark eyes. And he's wearing these long kind of flowing cotton robes with a lot of, gewgaws and accoutrements on them. And he steps through, there's all the robes have tons of like gold filigree and markings in it, hieroglyphs, markings of eyes and things like that. And he has either paint or tattoo underneath his eyes that make his dark eyes even more, pop even more. His head is completely bald. He steps through, and around his neck hangs something that may be familiar to keen viewers. It is this. And he steps up, and all of the people in the cavern are shouting out, "The Sorcerer Supreme! The Sorcerer Supreme!" And all of them start bringing their hands up, and there's these green kind of, similar sigils that we see appearing around their hands, as if they're taking some kind of defensive stance. Though with every single one of them, as they do that, you see this sort of like ghostly form of either a creature or a spectral human or some kind of hybrid, like, fantastic beast that sort of, adds an element to their, to their magical display. But the woman seems unconcerned, though not pleased. She looks over, and with a stern kind of glance at this new arrival, She says, Sorcerer Supreme, you are not welcome here. And the man who appears to be Egyptian puts his hands up as if to demonstrate that he's unarmed. And he says, I come in peace. I come in peace, world shaman. So you can hear some of the people collected around her saying, like, sorcerers, they mean to steal. They mean to bind them. They bring nothing but trouble. They're liars. And again, she sort of raises her hand and everyone sort of falls quiet. And the sorcerer says, we wish no such trouble, sister, brothers. And he sort of looks at the rest of them. You cannot defeat these great beasts. You cannot send them back. You must know that. You must. They have taken root in this world. They cannot be destroyed. They cannot be sent home. The only option is to bind them. And he opens his hands as if he's offering something. So I and my brothers and sisters, we wish to help. Our expertise is with this, and with such magics. Please, let us help you with this. And the world shaman has a look on her face as if she's, as soon as he finishes talking, there's this sort of uncomfortable silence. And there's a look on her face as if she's saying, like, just waiting for him to finish so she can tell him to, fuck off. She looks at him and she says, we have no need for your help, Sorcerer Supreme. You and your brethren can leave this to us. And he looks at her kind of perplexed. He's like, you don't have the power. You tried for 100 years to stop the rampage of the great beasts. They now sort of extend out further. Once they move into our lands, and she raises a hand and says, that will not happen. And at that point, we see at the place, the passage where she came, there's this shimmering green light that sort of appears and manifests. And he looks over and he looks confused. And we see this suddenly out of nowhere, this massive kind of like falcon just manifests in the air out of nowhere and poof, lands on the end of her staff. And as it lands, it kind of transforms as if it was part of that staff the entire time, as if it was always intended to be there. And she says, our allies have arrived. And she gestures back to the wall. And then she, I think what she does is she gestures, and there's this sort of crack that runs up the wall. And then with kind of a greenish energy coming from it, and it splits open again in the same kind of jerky way that the others did. And what we see is that same area, that same sprawling desert and sandstone city. And she says, we thank you for your concern, but leave this to the shamans. And he looks, and he opens his mouth as if to say one more thing, thinks better of it, turns, and walks through the open portal, which then shuts. And the collected shaman are kind of like all muttering amongst each other. And then we see the world shaman, the woman, turns to them and says, now, let us show you. The sorcerer is not wrong. We cannot force them back to their home, nor can we destroy them. They are too powerful. But there is another option. And we see from this shimmering passageway, out walks one figure first. And the figure is we would recognize her as a beautiful, kind of timeless beauty, Inuit woman, or First Nations woman. Long, dark hair, dark eyes, and dressed with kind of like in skins and bone accented jewelry, but the most beautiful that you could imagine. And she steps out, and the one thing that does seem unnatural about her is her brilliant blue eyes, which glow with an unnatural luminescence. And the world shaman turns to them and nods and says, again in subtitles, Lady Nelthana, we welcome you. And we see behind her walk all of these other figures, and it's men and women, or appears to be men and women. And you can kind of imagine if, like, how the Marvel Cinematic Universe takes, you know, Norse tropes through a sort of like bizarre sci-fi space gods lens to end at the Asgardians. Imagine doing the same, but with the Inuit traditions. And that's where we would land here. And that's what sort of walks out. And the Nelvana, the lead woman, gestures and says, "We bring gifts." And she sort of gestures to one side, and out walks this young girl. She looks like she's maybe like 8 or 9 years old, and she looks very similar to Nelvana, with long dark hair. She's a First Nations girl, and she's got brilliant brown eyes. And she said, Nelvana says in the subtitle language, "The talisman." And she gestures with her other hand, and out walks this girl who looks to be the exact same age as the other. And she seems to be the same ethnicity as well, only in place of the dark hair, she has pure snow white hair that cascades down, as straight and as strong as the other girls. And her eyes are a bizarre reverse, where the whites of her eyes are all black, and the iris and pupil are pure white as her hair. And she gestures her other hand out, "The pact, the talisman, the pact." And we see a look of approval as a small kind of smile, you know, kind of works its way up the corner of the world shaman's mouth. And she says, "Then we have work to do." And she hits her staff down, and the carved falcon on the end of her staff suddenly flaps its wings and comes to life again, and it begins flying out. And it flies down the length of the cavern, and it seems to burst out into the blinding snow, and we see it take wing and go, you know, flying up. It flies closer and closer to the camera, and we sort of like disappear into the black of its eye. And then it swings out again. And in place of that sprawling, you know, white kind of wasteland with falling ash and exploding volcanoes and thunderstorms, what we see are verdant green rolling hills. And what we see is northern Alberta. That's a little illustration. I'll wait for Arlen to get back. So Arlen, this is, that is what you sort of see. Not the town, but that's the northern kind of regions of Alberta, Canada. And we see as white lettering on the screen, the Great White North, 5,000 years later. And as the bird sort of flies over this sort of like sprawling green full hills, what we see is there is a kind of like a barbed wire fence. And on the sign on that barbed wire fence are the words "Property of Roxon Oil Canada." And it kind of continues swooping over, and we follow this bird as it's making its way along. And what we can see is it nestled kind of in the middle of these green rolling hills. There are two structures. One of them is kind of like an L-shaped kind of like a prefab kind of trailer. And then one of them is a prefab kind of built shed. And as the as the sort of camera follows the bird down, we can see that there is a man who's making his way back from the shed, and then towards the towards the trailer. And he makes his way into the trailer, and this man is, guys, your character, Arlen.
Of course.
Played by Ben Forrest. He's walking along, and he's dressed like, like basically, like if you can picture like a backwoods laborer kind of stuff. He's kind of like a rig pig. He's got like dirty khakis on. He's got big high boots on, and as he's walking along, he kind of mosquitoes and black flies. So he gets out and, the door open, throws open the door to the cabin and walks inside. And as you walk in, what you can see is that there's sort of like a mix of like monitoring kind of center and like rec room. So like one side of this, there's like a couches that are dirty and whatever else. And, or like not dirty, but like worn. And there's, a small little coffee table that's been beaten up and there's stuff sitting on there. But then at the other end of this room, there are a series of really complex computer terminals. And from one of the terminals, this woman turns back and says, is it ready then? The final pre-flight's done. And this woman is Heather McNeil. And she's got a headset on. She's got her hair pulled back. She's got glasses on. And she's at one of the terminals. And Puck, you can definitely say that, yeah, it's the suit's good to go.
Yep, we're ready.
All right. And then she kind of turns back to the screen. And then you hear this, that sound that R2 makes when he falls down something, that yow kind of scream. She hears that and she looks over and we can see that it comes from a cell phone that is sitting in front of this guy here. Now, that's, of course, Roger Box. That's your character there, Steve-O. And she looks and she's like, would you turn that damn thing off? And what do you say?
Sorry, sweetheart. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet.
So you pick up your phone and then you look through it. What I'll tell you is that you've got that ringtone set for when a specific type of email shows up. And that specific type of email is when your boss gets an email from somebody else because you've hacked your boss's cell phone. So you get this and you're scrolling through this and holy shit. So you open this, the most recent email, and what it says is basically it's an email from your boss whose name is Jerry Jackson. And Jerry is going to be arriving today. And Jerry just got sent an email to an open list of people. And it includes you're sort of scrolling through the, recipient list. And it's the usual type of like rocks and, mucky mucks that you expect. There's someone from the Canadian thing, the Canadian Natural Resources, kind of department. But there's some fucking email addresses that you don't recognize in here, including there's someone who's got a email address that is a us.gov address. There's actually a couple of them. And you're like, holy shit. Now, Steve, we're going to start you off here. You get to be the proud first person to make a feat test. So, guys, here's how task resolution works in this. What I need you to do, Steve, is can you go into your character sheet for Roger, and I'm going to get you to make a reason feat. So what we're going to do is, what is your reason?
Roger's reason is...
So let me back up one moment here. So you'll see there are stats there that sort of, if you read it up and down, it spells out phase rip. You see that? If you take the first letter from each of your stats, reading down, it's phase rip.
Yes.
Okay. The reason that where that name comes from is from the way that the characters are actually displayed in the character sheets. So this is sort of in the core rulebook. This is what they look like. They just have phase rip on there. Phase rip stands for, it's an initial is, well, actually, it's an acronym for fighting, agility, strength, endurance, reason, intuition, and psyche. Those are your stats. And I'll go through that again for you, but you will very easily commit that to memory. Fighting is basically any hand-to-hand fighting stuff. Agility is agility stuff or range attacks. Strength is strength. Endurance is, I think you'll guess that one. Reason is your sort of smarts. Intuition is kind of your cunning or your senses, I guess. And your psyche is kind of like your willpower. So what I need you to do, Steve, is to make a feat. What we're going to do, first off, what is your reason?
My reason is incredible.
Incredible 40. Nice. So would you go ahead and click on roll that, and we're going to take a look at this chart that I've got in front of me. All right. Hey, good. High is always better in this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at and I'm not going to do this each time. I'll get you guys to just tell me what the result is, what color it is. So yours is incredible. So we take a look at the incredible column. We scroll down to where you rolled, which is 67. And holy shit, you got a yellow feat result.
Yeah, yellow's good, eh?
Yeah, I got that. So here's how basically the task resolution works. You're either just going to roll it normally, and we'll see what the result is. And then if it is a specific type of task, we'll compare that to one of the things at the top there. Like if you're fighting hand-to-hand, or if you're trying to avoid dying or things like that, or trying to grapple with someone. But if you're trying a task and there's a difficulty to it, if the difficulty is less than your stat or whatever your thing is, a green feat is good enough. If it's equal to your stat, you need a yellow feat. If it's worse than your stat, or if it's better than your stat, rather, then you need a red feat result.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, sure.
You guys have just learned the game. That's the whole fucking game.
That's it.
So that's a fucking great one. So you look through this, and you're scrolling down, and I think that you, am I correct in thinking that you're the kind of guy who like quickly like switches over and does a quick Google search of people?
Well, heck yeah.
Okay, so you're going through and you're like, Jesus. And you search it. And so one of the recipients for this, the US ones in particular, it's a name, it says Roger Stern. And you do a quick search of this. And sure enough, the face that shows up, apart from a classic comic book writer who doesn't exist in this universe, you find a senator who in this universe is played by Gary Shandling.
Oh, dang, my favorites. I love Gary Shandling.
So if you remember the Dick Senator from Iron Man 2, that's whose picture you're looking at. And you're like,
I remember the Gary Shandling show.
Yeah, there you go. So this guy is actually from what do you call it? He's actually on the Armed Services Committee in the U.S., the Senate Armed Services Committee. So like, you guys all work for Roxxon Oil Canada. Why the fuck is this on the recipient? So maybe you start kind of going on about this, and James, you still need to like run a couple. You know that things are fueled up. The mechanics are good to go. You still need to initialize and sync the sort of like magnetic core for the suit with the sort of ambient magnetosphere. So what I'm going to get you to do, James, is, I mean, you're trying to focus. So what do you say to Roger to kind of like, because he's making a lot of noise about this. He's telling you every single recipient that's on this thing, and there's like 30 recipients.
Sorry, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Hey, shut up over there. I'm trying to focus. This is an important day.
Roger, who else is on that list?
Who else is on that list? Huh.
Stephen Harper's on this.
What?
It's a pretty big distribution. So let me see. I'm just going to put these. Yeah, there we go.
And this is our.
So this is your test day. This is the first time you're taking it out for an actual proper test. A test of the actual suit. You've got Jerry Jackson is coming out today to see this, and this is kind of the put up or shut up thing. As backstory for you guys, what's happened so far? This is the culmination of a couple years worth of work. There were some ideas that you had, James, about sort of manipulating the tapping into and manipulating the Earth's magnetic field to sort of to make a mining tool that would be much safer and would also do more than what traditional mining tools could do. You're born and raised from London, Ontario, in Canada, of course, and you've got it's petroleum engineering. You've got multiple degrees in petroleum engineering and physics.
Right.
So, this is sort of your baby, but it's not just you who's been the creator of this. Roger is the guy who put together the neural link that makes it work, so you don't have to work any mechanisms and things like that. He's a genius programmer, which is why you probably put up with his bullshit of hacking the boss's phone.
Right.
And, Heather has the one who has done most of the electronic work on it. In fact, she has jury rigged this all that came out here. You guys have been at this site for about 6 months now. It was set up by Roxon Oil. All of you work for Roxon Oil Canada, and basically, this is like right from the time where Puck, you came out here first to help, set up the camp and secure the place. And this is the weather out here in the wintertime is like -50. So this is some brutal fucking stuff that you and James were out here slogging it to get this thing set up. Once the oil company set up everything out there, since then, Heather and Roger and James have been out here. And before that, it was 8 months or 9 months worth of work in the lab to get this thing to the point you are. So this is like the culmination of 2 years of work. And thanks to Roger's hacked emails, you've been tracking just how much interest the rest of Roxon has had on this particular project. It seems like there's a lot of people interested in this.
Right.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And what do you call it? What I'm going to do is, because I think Heather's going to have to make some rolls as well too. Arlen, I'm going to have you make rolls for Heather as well, and you can just role play Heather as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, holy, and you guys have been out here for like basically unbroken, just like you guys, and then maybe a couple other people dropping off supplies. You've been in touch by like video conference with Jerry, and thanks to Heather's genius, you've got a satellite link that is, you could be in the middle of downtown Manhattan and have worse Wi-Fi connection than what Heather set up for you. So. Nice. You guys are pretty much ready to get this thing going, but you do need to get that final sync off there, James. So why don't we talk? Let's do I'm going to ask for a reason test from you, but what talents do you have?
Okay, let's see here. Talents. Engineering, physics, and electronics.
Okay, so it'll be physics. What that means is you're going to get +1 class. So what is your reason?
Incredible.
Awesome. So then what we do is a +1 class means you bump up to amazing. Go ahead and click on your roll, and let's see how compare that to the amazing. 80. Holy shit. What is that?
So,
well, too.
So I see. So you go to amazing, and then you go to the 80.
Yeah, cross-reference to what you rolled.
Nice. So it's gold.
Yeah, so yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yellow feet. So that's really fucking good. What does it look like as you're sort of activating your computers, and what do we see in the monitor as this thing powers up?
So he's powering up the suit, correct?
He's syncing the suit to the magnetosphere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like almost like the whole room is shaking a bit. It's generating so much power, and it's sort of clearly he is focused because it's like you see the bead of sweat roll down his face like this. It's sort of that like intense computer moment or whatever, or like work where the character is so focused is how but
yeah. Cool. So, and as the lights kind of flicker for a second, and this the computer monitors kind of able to do that weird kind of like twitch thing when they get synced. Heather kind of turns to you and says, like, don't blow the computers. We don't need another EMP.
Yeah, I know. I'm on it.
All right.
And you see him sort of go to this other control panel and turn things down a little bit.
Okay. So, and Puck kind of, says, he's got this. And he leans in and is like, you've got this, right?
Yeah, I got this.
So he sits back. He's got this. Arms crossed. And so you're pretty much ready to go. And you hear once again that, wow, from the phone. And Roger, you sort of look down and he's like, oh, what do you call? What's your shitty nickname for Jerry Jackson?
Oh, my boss, right?
He's the VP for special projects with Roxon Oil Canada.
Oh, what's a good lumpy pants? Yes.
Lumpy pants. Okay. So how does Roger tell everyone else that Lumpy Pants is touching down?
Oh, Lumpy's here, everybody. Heads up.
So we see outside, and we see this black helicopter. It's a commercial helicopter that's kind of making its way across the things, across the landscape. A little bit more like the music picks up a little bit as it gets closer, and we see the thing on the side. There's this gold lettering that says Roxxon on the side, as if like that name enough tells you everything.
Right.
And for those who are unfamiliar, Roxxon is kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe equivalent of like the really nasty corporation. So it kind of flies over and then lands down. We see there's only 2 occupants here. There's a pilot, and then the door opens and out walks this guy. And he's dressed in kind of like, if you had spent, say, about $1,500 on like outdoor wear, that's what this guy would be wearing. He's got, and then on top of that, he probably has like $2,000 sunglasses on as well. So he's looking like he's ready to rough it about as much as someone who's on like a $40,000 safari. And he steps out and, kind of studies looks around as if he's thinking he's making, an impression. And we can tell that, guys, this is Jerry Jackson. And Jerry Jackson is played by Jason Clarke.
Oh, yeah.
So he steps out and walks over towards the waiting trailer, and he sort of gestures to the bird, back to the pilot. Pilot kind of takes up, and he does that sort of and he doesn't do that like crouch walk thing that most people do. He just strides along, as if he owns the place, because he's the VP and of special projects, and it is as if he owns the place. He throws the door open, and he says, "Big day, big day. How's my team looking?"
Everything's going smooth, sir.
You look at
Team is looking good.
Good. Good is what I want to hear. We're not going to have any problems with the neuro interface this time. Right, Box?
Heck no. And I've recovered from the last time. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Shakes his head. And wow! You hear another thing go in, and he kind of looks down at you, and he looks down at his phone. He pulls his phone out and starts checking something. And as he's checking his phone, he says, "Are you going to have that thing on during the whole test? We're streaming the whole thing back to corporate."
I can turn it down.
Okay. So you do you turn it down, or do you just leave it on?
I'll get to it later.
Nice. You see you guys all kind of working away, and like there's numbers and shit falling across the screen. There's that like movie display of schematics and whatnot. And he's like, "All right then." And he walks up behind you, James, and he puts both hands on the shoulders, kind of like massaging your shoulders. And it's like, "We got this, Jimmy." Incidentally, no one calls you Jimmy.
Yes, we got this.
And he kind of hits your shoulders. "All right, then let's show them what's what." Puck? Oh, yeah, I think he calls you Judd. Judd, let's get him strapped in. So, James, this is the last. This is the whole fucking deal now. What do we see on your face? Or what do you do as you kind of step away from the monitor and make your way out to make this maiden voyage?
On me, I'm the pilot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think you can see like legit tension. He, his boss is here. The whole he's that email chain. He is very stressed, but he's confident it's going to work. So
yeah.
At the same time, he's not frightened. He's excited.
Okay. So he steps away. You spare a last kind of look over at Heather. Heather looks back at you. What's the look that we see pass between them, Arlen?
I don't know. I think Heather might just sort of wink at him.
Nice. Have Heather and James does Jerry know that the two of them are involved?
Oh, I think so.
Okay. So he knows. So you step away. There's one last link. She winks. How does James react to that?
He's used to it. He probably winks back at her.
Okay. Puck, you can see them. You know, they're sort of, you know, doing that cutesy thing again. You need to get him set up in the suit.
All right. Let's get ready to go. Today's the day.
Yeah, let's go.
So we
And
see
now he's kind of
you
got
know,
a smile on his face. It's kind of relaxed him a little bit.
Awesome. So you get out and you're making your way over there. Roger, you're sort of like, you know, everything's flying along. You're monitoring a bunch of things. You've got like a display, sort of this holographic display of a bunch of like, it almost looks like a bunch of electrodes in the shape of kind of a cap. You guys step outside, and of course, Puck, you guys are walking along, and again, you know, you're fucking bit, and they don't seem to be eating James.
It's a goddamn nuisance.
So we see you guys walk into this shed, you know, and as you guys walk into the shed, it's sort of, you know, there's no lights on it at the time. James, you know, you've been in here 100 times before, so you're sort of walking straight forward. Puck, you walk over and hit the lights, and then this sort of, it's about the size of like a small barn, you know, or a small hangar maybe. But in the middle of this, you know, set up and hooked up to a bunch of really heavy looking equipment is this big fucking set of armor. Like I said before we went live, you can kind of picture this armor looking like a combination or like a love child of like the cargo lifter from Aliens and the Ironmonger suit from Iron Man 1. It's much cruder than the Ironmonger suit. Like, it's not really kind of heavily you know, stylized and whatnot, not protective. But what we can see, you know, in sort of like stenciled spray on the front of this thing, on like sort of the breastplate, is the word Guardian. So you walk up, and there's a little step ladder to kind of get you inside this thing. It stands about, you know, maybe 10 feet tall. James, this has been 2 years of your life, and you and Heather and Roger's, you know, blood, sweat, and tears. What are you guys going to do?
You ready, James?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So he's going to need your help, Puck, getting up in there, but you know, get him up and you get him strapped in. And once you kind of get yourself in position, you reach up and you pull and it looks kind of like a, it's like, honestly, it looks like a dish or a dome that just has some like a kind of visor display on it. And then the whole thing sort of seals you in, and the power comes on. And you can see that, like, from a brief period of blackness, there's a bunch of head-up display inside, and it's very crude. Like, it's not the, like, you know, heavily styled, like heavily, you know, nuanced and complicated thing we see in Iron Man. This is a very kind of like, you know, what is it, Vic 20 kind of like, you know, version of the display. It's a fairly plain Jane thing. So you go up and there's some displays, and everything seems to be working okay. What you're going to need to do, so you get in there and Puck, you take a step back from this thing as he gets ready. And James, you ready to take your first step in Guardian?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's give me a reason feat. Let's see if you missed anything.
Ooh. Okay.
Here we go. That's a nat one.
Amazing.
All right. So there's something you forgot. What do you think you forgot?
You know, the excitement.
What would he have forgotten? Oh, you know what he forgot, Kev? You said that he was planning on proposing at the end of this.
Yeah.
And when Heather winked at him, then he was thinking, and he realizes that he left the ring at home. It's actually not the system that's the problem. It's that. And he is
he's like, stop to watch.
Yeah. It's like his whole plan is ruined. Like, to him, you know, that was kind of the more important part of this day in a lot of ways, right? Like, this is work, but that's his life. And so he is just like.
So we actually see the Guardian suit doing this kind of like, where did I put it? Kind of mode gestures of like checking
right, like
pockets.
Totally. Yeah.
So Jerry kind of leans in. He's got his headset on to Roger. He's like, "What is he doing?
Yeah. What's he doing?
Is that part of the new diagnostics routine?"
Roger's like, I'm sure he's just running a diagnostic. Yeah, just give him a second.
Puck, you're looking up and like, what? He's never done this before. What are you?
Sorry.
Are you going to say anything?
Sorry. Something wrong, bud?
And then he, continues with the systems checker. No, everything's okay. Everything will be fine, I guess.
All right.
There's a natural, right? Today, big day, all that.
It is a big day.
It's gonna be good. We're gonna get through this, and then we'll celebrate after.
Yeah, you're right. We're gonna get through this safe, and then move on. I'm good.
So then Jerry says, if you're done with the new diagnostics routine, position 0, Jimmy.
Position 0.
So you start this thing stomping along in kind of a clumsy, gait. It's as if you made a suit that shares more in common with like a caterpillar, kind of like big, equipment rather than the kind of like, exosuit that Iron Man has. Stomps out into the open, and Heather comes over the what do you call it? The comm and says, "All right, James, are you ready to bring the maneuver drive online?"
Ready.
Okay. So you get ready, you step out, and you're sort of in this. You've stomped your way out, and then you've moved your way out towards this open. And there's sort of you've moved yourself about 200 yards away from the structure. And what we can see is there's a bunch of drones that are out around, and you can see Jerry is talking on like kind of muttering into his phone, Roger, as as the whole thing is going on, and you can see on maybe like a bunch of screens in front of Heather, there's a bunch of like displays that are of the stream that's going on back to Roxxon corporate headquarters, apparently elsewhere. Puck, you head on back to the kind of like headquarters or whatever, and you are ready to get there. What I'm going to do now, so you get ready to activate, and James, you kind of take a deep breath. This is going to be the thing that's going to start, and then I guess maybe what Jerry says is, all right, and now we will be testing the magnetic maneuver drive. This is what is designed to give a spark-free and tool-free breach of the Earth surface. And I'm not sure. He probably uses a more complicated and techno-friendly word for the surface of the Earth, but I don't know what that is right now. So you can imagine him saying that. But so you sort of get in position, and then you're like, all right. And Heather, flashes some things on. She's like, "You've got full power, James. Let's show him what we can do." And you're about to hit this maneuver drive, and then you sort of there's this massive blast that comes from the end of your hands, and it smashes into the side of this hill, effectively like annihilating leaving this massive crater. And Jerry kind of looks and leans into to Heather and says, covering the mouthpiece, "Is that part of the display, the new diagnostics too?" What does Heather say, Arlen?
Is it?
Okay. It's a spike in the.
Of course it is. Of course it is. What are you doing? Yeah.
We're figuring some things out. James, is everything all right?
You can hear wow, wow, wow from your phone.
James, talk to us. What's going on?
I'm okay. I don't know. It was some kind of discharge.
All right. Let's try this again.
I think we're running too hot. We got to get this thing moving.
Why don't you give me another reason check or feat, please? And your reason will be at amazing as well, because it's This is an engineering test or engineering talent check. Let's see. Here we go. Big money. What?
Okay,
What?
come on, seriously?
Okay, so let's talk about a little thing, the way that you mitigate shitty dice rolls in this. So you got a thing, you'll see that you have 2 stats on your character. You have a stat called health, and you got a stat called karma.
Yep.
Karma is, actually, no, maybe I'll do that instead of having these character sheets. Let me put these out here. So you're, let's see, could I do this? Oh, nice. We can set up character. Awesome. Okay, let's do this. Karma and health. Sweet. And I'm going to put your names and things up here. Sorry, guys, I should have set this up beforehand. So your red bar will be your, whoopsies. Your red bar is going to be your health, and the blue bar will be your karma. Sec here. Blue bar is karma. What you can do is spend your karma on a 1-for-1 basis. It doesn't count as health or whatnot, but you can spend it on 1-for-1 basis to modify your dice rolls. So you could spend that. Karma is also sort of your experience points that you get it as well. You use karma to, do stunts with your powers. So like if you're doing something if you want to try to do something with your powers that you've never done before, you have to spend karma to try and make the attempt. And then the more you do it, the less, the less difficult it is. And then eventually you end up adding that to your sort of power list.
Cool.
Okay. So you are sitting on 56 karma. Do you want to spend any karma to make that a success, or are you okay with it?
No, I have 56 health. I have 70 karma.
Oh, fuck me. Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah. So you're saying it's amazing.
It's effective, amazing. Yep.
So I would need to go across this chart to
all you need. This is going to be
26 to make it green.
This would be a typical test. So you just need a green feat result.
Right. So I would have to spend 25 karma to raise my 1 to a 26.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. I will do that.
Okay. And the way that you get more karma is by just doing heroic stuff, saving people, beating bad guys, stuff like that. All right. Or facing, tests. That's way better. Okay. So what do we see because it looks like things might've gone wrong there a second time?
I think that what you see is again, he's kind of not here where he should be mentally in the suit. He is thinking about okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to race home and get it. I'm going to call my mom. She's going to grab it and bring it. He should be completely focused on the suit, and he is totally in another world. And so he wasn't paying attention. And sort of what you see is as soon as it starts to go wrong, he's sort of snaps back to it and has to kind of do things twice as fast as he should be.
Yep.
Because he's got to recover from what's happening.
Okay. So what we see is this sort of around the outside of this orange kind of, mecha suit thing, there's this shimmering blue kind of field that appears around it. And it's the same color as the blast that came out from its gauntlets. And then you look down and it's as if the thing was suddenly on water, and it drops down into the ground. And there's sort of a disturbed earth that's around there, but very little. It's as if you dug a hole and filled it up again.
Right.
But in you, James, you're just and you're going fucking down through the solid earth.
Right.
And you can see there's, Heather comes through clear over the apparatus. She's like, James, you, operate your navigation system. Roger's going to put that online for you. And she sort of gestures towards you, Roger.
Right.
Boom. Yep. So you activate it. And now you see this sort of there's this, There's this display of underground navigation. So suddenly where it was just darkness and whatnot before, now you can see a bunch of geological information that's displaying on your suit. And Roger says, "How's that working, buddy?"
It's working.
So what you can actually see on here, you're looking around, and you see one of the things you're looking for, and that's about, we'll say about maybe, I don't know, 1,000 feet or 1,200 feet away, a little further down. There's a natural gas pocket. Why don't you go for a swim in it?
Sure. So I'll head over there.
Start moving forward, and Jerry's kind of narrating this stuff, and as he goes along. As you can see, this suit leaves very little, minimal displacement as the magnetic field moves the structure around. There is no drill. There is no energy. There's nothing to potentially set the underlying structure off. Wildfires will be a thing of the past, and the information we can gather is with a human at the helm, and he sort of gestures, and there's all this sort of display that Heather brings up, and there's all this crazy geological data that's showing up. If we're not satisfied with where one sensor unit is placed, we can bring it to another. And ladies and gentlemen listening at home, you're about to witness history. This is the first human to take a swim in a subsurface petroleum deposit. And we sort of see, in the film version, the green suit or the orange suit kind of, pushes through into this pocket. And you're displaying, along, and you're sort of being held weightless in this thing, James. So it doesn't really, mean much to you. But if you look at, past the display at the actual visual display, you've got lights on here. Did you want to activate those to actually set eyes on this? You got floods.
Yeah, for sure.
You hit floods, and there's this weird kind of like oily sort of. It's as if you were swimming in the middle of an oil slick, and you're sort of drifting around. And the sheer, I don't know, how does this hit in you? This is what you've been intending to do for years. This is a dream you had back in probably undergrad.
I think now that this is actually happening, he's totally back in the moment, and I don't know, it's like, the first man in space or, something like that. It's a big breakthrough for them. So yeah. He's he looks like a kid, looking out the window at a toy store or something, he's just like glowing.
Yeah. Okay, so this amazing look on your face. And then we hear kind of there's a rumble. And you kind of look around, and your display is showing up. Apparently, so there's a bit of a minor tectonic incident. Shouldn't be anything major, or at least it shouldn't. Because what we see is the rumble. In the office, everyone's sort of like, the thing's going to rattle along. The monitors rumble. Puck, you're kind of looking around like, all right, rattle, 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 and then you guys hear this kind of bang from outside, and then. Pew, 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 pew. Every one of the monitors is down. And James, you're there, and you kind of the display is kind of futzing up, and you kind of look around. Can I get, please, Puck and Box? Would you both give me an intuition check, please? You get plus one class on yours, Roger, because I think you might be able to guess what's going on here.
All right.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so Puck, that's really is that a red feat, or is that
let's see, 20 87 is, I think, yellow.
Yellow. Okay, so a yellow result. All right, so you kind of
intuition, yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing that Heather has kind of kludged together. Yeah, okay, so Roger, you don't know what the hell's going on. You hear, wow, and Jerry says, "Shut that damn thing off." And you kind of grab that and are turning that down. Puck, it's the fucking power thing, that kludged together thing that Heather's put. It's got it, like they've ended up having to sort of support it on a pole. It must have fallen loose. What do you say?
Heather, you and me, let's go. We got to get the power back on.
Okay, she grabs and this kind of like toolkit right now at her the side and starts racing after you. You guys both go running outside. Roger, you can, you're not, you don't have the sound on anymore, but you can see that there's tons of these fucking emails coming in to Jerry. And he seems distracted, and he's sort of half looking at the phone, and then like, what's going on? Roger, what is, if there's no link there, then right now you guys are powering the suit off of a transmitter. If this is not back up again, then he actually might lose power linked to the magnetosphere, and he may suddenly not have that force field protection that is keeping him alive.
Well, that's not good.
No. You can see like the sort of, James, this is all evident in your mind as this is going on. So let's do this as a series of feats here, guys. The first up, James, you can sort of see that the shield is starting to flicker a little bit.
Yep.
Which is exposing the suit to a bit of, like there's just a stutter of enough to let some of the natural gas in. You're safe, of course. But it looks like there's something starting to spark. If that field goes down again with that spark, you're basically going to be in the middle of the larger fireball. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Puck, what I'd like you to do, please, is first give me and Steve, why don't you open up Heather's character sheet? Both of you guys give me endurance checks, please. Let's see how fast you can get there.
All right, not so good. That's a white result.
Right. Okay. So you get out. What do you think happens as you? That's causing you to slow down.
I think just stumbling from kind of panic.
Yeah. Okay. So you get out and you sort of hit this stump that you cut down initially when you got there, and kind of do a tumble. You're like, oh goddamn! How did she do? Oh, and she falls after you too. Oh no!
You hear James on the radio. He's like, guys, I got plans for later today.
You can hear it's kind of garbled coming through. Fuck. Okay, so you find yourself in a fairly perilous circumstance. James, what are you going to do?
I'm going to attempt to get to the top of the pocket of the natural gas.
Okay. How do you think you're going to do that?
He's going to, like, is it a suit that I can control the limbs? Like, can I sort of make it swim?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you just want to like do the sort of swimming.
Yeah, exactly. Like he starts sort of swimming to the top of the.
Sure. What do you do that? Make an agility feat for me with I'll give you +1 class because of your engineering. Let's see how you do. Nice.
So
72, good. Oh,
excellent.
Oh,
72.
so cool. Yeah. So you know what you
it's yellow actually.
Is it yellow? 72 on
72
good?
to 75.
Oh,
Well, it goes up. You said it was +1. So
it is. Yeah. So you got a yellow. Okay. So yeah. So nope. You've actually managed to get it just the right speed. So you're starting to move your way out. Puck and Heather, you pull yourselves to your feet. What are you guys doing?
Keep going. We got to get this power back on.
All right. So you go racing over to the back there, and fuck, like it's fallen right against the base. But for Heather to get to it, she'll need to get around the back. So Puck, you're gonna need to move this damn thing, and then Heather's gonna need to try and fix this. So, all right. Now this is something that is we're looking at a good strength, because that's what your strength is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so good strength can lift up to 400 pounds. So I think this is a good intensity feat. Do you have anything you want to try and do to try and like improve the chances on that?
Is there any way to like lever something against it to give myself some mechanical advantage?
If you can give me a cool kind of in-fiction explanation for that, absolutely. What do you think? What do we do?
Well, I'm imagining there's like, bits of like some wood or pipes or something, some building materials that are left over that, Puck sees one right on the ground and goes, aha, that's what I'll do. And
awesome.
Sticks a, big, like a lead pipe or something under it and starts heaving against it to shift it up.
Yep, that's yeah. I'll give you +1 column shift, which means you just need a green result now. Go ahead and give me a strength feat.
Strength. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a yellow feat or yellow. Yeah, yellow result as well too. So what does this look like as he's sort of straining? He's a small guy too. Like he's only about 5'6", 5'7".
I think we can see that he's not a tall guy, but he's wide.
Oh yeah,
he's built pretty big, and he's got that sort of lumberjack build of just sort of squared off, and he's straining against it, and then he shifts his hands a little and strains against it a little more, and he shifts again, and he gets it up there, and he shouts at Heather, "All right, I've got it. Do your magic, whatever you do."
Okay, then Steve-O, what's Heather gonna do? Steve, are you still awake?
Barely.
So what's Heather gonna do?
Having some spazzy internet moments. There we go. What's up?
What's Heather gonna do?
Gonna save the day, right?
Who's reading? Oh, sorry. What's going on here? Oh my. There we go.
What am I?
Heather is going to. Let's see. She is going to try to repair the systems. You want to check in. She thinks it was an EMP blast. And
well, it's that this thing fell. There was a tremor that hit, and then the sort of thing that she had kludged together, it fell against the trailer and damaged the power transmitter.
Right.
So she
can see the power transmitter.
Okay, so then that is going to be a reason feat, please, and then you're going to get +1 for her engineering, or her mechanics rather, talent.
All right. So what do I add that +1, or do I?
No, remember it's just +1 class.
Okay.
So what's your reason?
20. That's remarkable. 30.
30. Okay, so then +1 it'll be incredible then. So go ahead.
Okay.
37. Oh shit! Just barely. All
Nice.
right, so you get up there, and and then suddenly, power's back on. James, you suddenly have it the field back on. What are you doing?
Well, I'm getting out of this natural gas danger immediately. That was fun while it lasted, but it's just too risky for a test run. So
am I correct in thinking like a breaching whale? You sort of like
yeah,
out of the earth. Okay, so you come moving through all this earth and stone and whatnot, and you boom burst out the top, glowing, and you actually fly a short distance and slowly hover. And we can picture that to Heather and Puck have come running around the corner of the cabin, and you can see this thing flying in the air. And James, whoa, shit! Like you didn't necessarily think of this before, but yeah, I mean this magnetic manipulation, this could actually work in the air as well.
Right.
So you kind of
I'll take some careful steps.
Yeah. So you slowly, right now you're about 50 feet in the air, and you slowly start hovering down, and you sort of land and kind of stagger forward. That field still around you. I think what you can do is you could open the whole like helmet thing if you wanted to talk. I'm picturing Puck and Heather are outside right now with you, and there's all these drones that are hovering around you as well too, taking in every second of this stuff.
Right. And I'm just like, that was amazing.
Okay, do you open the helmet to say that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, you're like, that was amazing. And Puck and Heather, how do they react?
I think Puck's just sort of. I imagine that Puck hasn't gotten the electrical thing into like an actual stable position, so he's still kind of holding on to, yeah, and then holding on to this thing to try to keep it.
That's awesome.
Says, why don't we get out of the suit before sooner rather than later?
Yeah. Okay. There's a bunch of data that Roger, you're picking up on the screen. Like, oh fuck! Like there's things that you guys for the purpose of this test, we're sort of keeping everything in sort of the green areas. But now that James has had to push into the red, you've got so many fucking ideas of what this thing could potentially do.
Right.
Flying, hovering, force field, that blast thing. If you could, potentially, there's a bunch of data that you're capturing, and seemingly out of nowhere, Jerry comes over and says, you suddenly kind of standing next to you as you're sort of looking at this thing, and you're chattering away to James, and you look up, and Jerry says, "Make sure all of that's uploaded to the mainframe." And he's kind of looking at you like, that he's trying to intimidate the shit out of you, the way that only Jason Clark can.
Right.
And then once you're sort of back in the hangar, thing opens up. You go out and you come down.
We're almost like ignoring them, like we're like high fiving each other and like yakking about the science and everything, and like and like just kind of blowing them off.
I love it. You know what? I think what happens too is that like you and Heather are sort of like geeking out like crazy about the science. Puck, you've managed to find something to sort of secure this thing. So you've walked around the corner, and it's before you guys actually kiss or embrace or whatnot, you first geek out about what happened and what it did and whatnot.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. And Roger, you can hear this. Yeah. You can hear this going on over the headset. What do you say?
All right, you two, quit making out. Science talk.
Okay, so we cut to inside later, and we see this, like someone pops a champagne bottle, and it's Jerry, of course, and he says success, and he pours drinks for everybody and hands it over. That went over brilliantly. We have a lot of diagnostics to do, but I think we really showed the board something today. I think, he raises the glass up. He says to you, Jimmy, Project Guardian.
Is this the first I've ever heard this term?
Yeah, no, that's the project you've been working on.
Oh, that's the name of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The idea is that it's a guardian, like to keep you safe underneath the earth. If you're going into an environment, you're going into an environment that no one has ever gone into. So
Yeah. So Project Guardian.
Okay, so he cheers. You guys all have your drink, and you can hear the sound of a helicopter setting down. And he says, "You enjoy the rest of that. There's another 2 in the fridge. And then take tomorrow off, and then the day afterwards, we're crunching numbers. Enjoy." He sort of toasts to you guys, and then puts it down. Everyone, make an intuition check, please. Whoa, Roger, fucking 96. Now we get to start talking about. Let's see, your intuition.
Yeah, 3.
So Rogelio, yeah. Okay, so Roger, it's a yellow result that you got there. I think I'm going to give you a +1 column shift because you just don't fucking trust Jerry. It sounds like old lumpy pants, and everyone sort of takes their sip, but you notice that Jerry doesn't actually drink his. And he's not a teetotaler. He's an asshole. Like he drinks high-end liquor and whatever. But he sort of like fakes it and puts it down. And then the chopper lands and he makes his way out, but you've definitely noticed that. And you're looking back at the phone and there's still a bunch of shit that's sort of flashing on the phone.
Right.
Tons and tons of emails have come in. So Jerry says, "You enjoy yourselves. I'll talk to you by sat phone in 2 days. Congrats, everyone." And he sort of, "Congrats, guys, my team." And he turns and heads out to the chopper, putting his shades on, even though the sun's sort of going down. And he heads back, and then that black chopper with Roxanne on the side takes up and heads its way back towards Edmonton. Actually, towards Fort McMurray, technically, and then onwards elsewhere. So, Roger, what do you make of that?
What's with him, anyways, guys? You guys know what's up with him? He seemed distracted.
I don't trust that guy. He pays the bills, but
he didn't even have a sip of his drink.
He didn't drink the champagne?
I know, right?
Well, that is strange.
Who knows? Slimy fucks like him. Mm.
What are those emails saying, James?
Yeah.
Roger.
Well, I guess it's time to check that, isn't it? All right, let's have a look at my phone here.
So it's going to take you a while. Now, you definitely did have a really fucking big day. So what do you guys think you're going to do to celebrate?
I think we would have a bar or a place that we go. I don't know.
Well,
if
the thing is, this is not in the middle. This isn't literally in the middle of nowhere. Like, you live here as well.
Right. So maybe it's the roof of the facility. We've got a bunch of lawn chairs and a cooler.
Sure.
Yeah, like I kind of imagine. So I remember in the book version of Jurassic Park, they talk about measuring time by how much beer they drink.
Yeah.
Because they start off with a couple of cases and then gradually go down. So we're gonna make good time on the time out here with
Yeah, for sure.
lawn chairs out back.
So underneath one of the tarps in the hangar, there's like crates and crates and crates of beer that you've got stored.
Excellent.
Puck coming back again and carrying back yet another thing to restock the fridge. You guys, of course, being the proud Canadians you are, you've got the Tragically Hip blasting from the roof. No one else is within hundreds of miles of here, so you've got no one else. So they're the song "Blow It High Dough," or is that what's called "Blowing High Dough"?
Blow It High Dough, yeah.
Yeah. Is blasting away, as you guys are whooping it up on the roof. Roger, as you're drinking, you're still making your way through the phone, and you keep hearing you've turned that thing back on. Wow, as it's going away. What do you guys? You probably have like a barbecue up there as well too. So, wow, what do you guys? Is there anything? What do you guys think you do? This will while us through into sort of the evening. I think you guys have like patio lanterns set up out there. There's a kind of like a Heather's got set up some kind of like a frequency thing that keeps like mosquitoes and black flies away. So you guys are able to, in spite of being this far north, you're still like able to enjoy the outside as much as you want, as long as you don't go, except for fucking Puck.
Mm-hmm.
I think Puck still kind of gets like, God damn it. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys, what do you think you would be talking about? What are you talking about? Plans for the future? Or are you talking about?
I think we're talking about the test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And geez, how is it weighing on you, James, that you forgot that thing at home too?
Yeah, he is. He's basically resigned himself to not doing it today. Basically.
Yeah.
So he's a little disappointed about that, but it's too good of a day to dwell on something that he just sees as inevitable at this point. So.
Okay, you were gonna say something, Arlen?
Oh yeah, because Heather and Puck both have above typical intuition that they can probably tell that there's something kind of weird weighing on James.
Sure.
That something off about the big day for him.
So I think that knowing how well Puck knows James and Heather and whatnot too, do you think he would have, do you think he would have picked up on what he was planning and make sure that it's there?
I think Puck doesn't realize until I imagine Puck is like the last one up drinking, and he's out there and he doesn't realize until everyone else has gone to bed and he's just sitting there and he goes, "Oh shit, that's what it was."
Okay.
And then thinks, "Oh man, if only I had realized sooner, we could have done something."
Okay. So you're sitting out there drinking and the Roger, you're still kind of wow, going through even more wow, and it seems like everybody's got something to fucking say to old Jerry about this stuff. James, you keep drinking, and it kind of hit. You get to a point where you're in the evening and you're kind of talking about things and whatnot, and Heather's maybe like dancing with Roger because Roger's that type of that type of guy. And he's up dancing like a fool, Oh, Steve's going to do us a full on. That's awesome. And you're sort of sitting and talking to Puck a bit, and you guys are getting deeper and deeper into your crate. It's you're in Alberta, so it would be what is it? Great Western beer probably. And so you are James. When it kind of gets down to it, like, do you think it's more important to propose today, or is it more important to propose with the ring at some point?
He's probably thinking that maybe he'll just propose.
So that means you need to get yourself a ring. You're certainly good enough to be able to fabricate something like that, right?
Right. So he's probably like, at one point he sort of disappears back into the lab, and he's sort of just maybe he's found like the perfect part that sort of symbolizes together something they've done, or
sure,
an inside joke that she'll get that it's an important thing. So
you head off to the stable, and you're sort of like, all the lights go on, and you're sort of working on fabricating one of these things at the workshop. Puck, you've the beer, as they say, you don't buy beer, you rent it.
Yeah.
So you've gone to you're at the edge, sort of pissing off the edge of the trailer. Roger, you're checking your email, or not checking, rather, Jerry's email. Wow. And then suddenly there's sort of like a creaking, and then poof, all the the music and the the music and the power and the lights and whatnot all goes out. It's like, oh god damn it, it's shifted. So Heather goes over and looks down from the top of the trailer and is like, no, I can fix it. Hold on. Because at first, Puck, you're like, all right, I'll head back. And she says, no, I just need to reattach. Something's come loose. So Heather goes down, to the main floor, and you're finishing up pissing. And here's what I'm going to do: is I'm going to get first, Puck. Would you give me an intuition check, please? A test or intuition feat.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a red result?
Intuition 20. That is not a red result. That's a yellow result.
So what you could, if you wanted, you could spend just enough karma to buy it into red.
Yeah, I could do that. I could spend.
It only costs you 4 points.
4 points. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Bought it to red.
So you're the kind of like, oh, all right, thank God she doesn't have to. And you're looking out, and like it is otherwise a gorgeous summer, evening. And one of the lovely things about summers out here is that it's hot during the day, but it cools off in a lovely way at night. So it's I can't tell you what Fahrenheit it is, but it's like 15 degrees or something like that, or 16 degrees. So you can sit outside, it's comfy, it's not cool, and you're sort of pissing away. And the big heavy moon is going above you. Like, you really couldn't pick a better, beautiful prairie night. And you look out and you see something. We'll cut over to James. James, would you give me an intuition check as well?
Yep. Oh, there's my sheet. I'm not very good at intuition.
No. Okay. So you're sort of focused. You're a little drunk, and you're sort of focused on what you're doing.
He's quite drunk, yeah.
Why don't you describe for us? What does this ring look like? Is it wires? Is it fabricated? Is it?
Maybe it's carved or sort of made out of this magnetic piece that they were using early in their testing. So it's sort of
awesome.
This like shiny, black metallic stone.
Oh, beautiful! Yeah. So you've got that fix in there, and it's it's a little crude looking, but it's not going to poke her, and it's.
Yeah.
Oh, you're pretty pleased with that, and Roger, you get this most recent email, and this most recent email is from that Stearns character, that senator, and the gist of it is that. It seems like there's been plans and talk about this stuff, and like you're at the point you're at, you're only able to read like, you've been going back and forth to it. You've sort of sit down from your dancing and you've opened it up, and guys, you hear Roger say, "Guys, what's a shield?" And what the email says is, deal with the on-site assets. Shield will take it from here. And then there are it's a weird ending to the email because it's just 2 letters. It's not a name. It's not a, it's not a, what do you call it? It's not a, like a prefix or not a prefix, a suffix that you're familiar with. All it has is HH. And you're sort of looking at this, and Heather goes down and she says, guys, there's something that's been added on here. And we'll go back to the top. Puck, you catch the gleam of something that is some kind of tack goggles. About maybe, so in this game we use abstracted movement. It's about 2 areas out into the darkness. You can see this is happening. You have the highest intuition, I think, of anybody. You got excellent, right? Anyone else have? Let's see, good.
I think Heather is tied.
Heather's tied. Okay. Well, Heather's sort of the NPC this time. So, yep. Puck, we just like old school games, we roll initiative round per round. First thing we do, guys, is we declare actions, and then we'll roll initiative. So, Puck, you have the highest intuition, so you get +1 to your roll. So you'll roll initiative for the heroes. The only thing you really need to decide is if you want, you can move and you can take an action, but if you want to attack more than once, then you need to make a fighting feat beforehand. So what do you guys think of doing? Now, it's really just Puck who knows right now what's going on, but you guys can act in any order that you want. So Puck could always go first and then warn you guys, and if he warned you guys, then you guys could go. So what do you think, Puck? What are you going to do this round?
I think, well, I don't know. I think shout out a warning and then just drop and, go prone and try to.
Because of your sort of signature, flying tackle, did you want to get fucking Roger down too? You're the only 2 ones on the top.
Oh, yes. That would be a good idea. Why don't I?
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your only action. Then you don't need to make a test. We'll just make the test when we're doing your action. James is not. So James, assuming you're going to hear that warning, what is it you're doing?
He says they're here for the suit.
Okay. Well, I don't know what is it that Puck's going to cry out. We're sort of like moving forward and moving back again, but
Bad guys?
Did Roger tell us what the email said?
Let's just do this. Let's do the first round. So Heather is on the ground floor, and so we're just going to leave her out of the scene for now. Puck, why don't you go ahead and give me an initiative roll, please?
Initiative with +1?
Yes. If you click on your initiative, it should roll it for you. Did that include a +1?
It did.
Yeah. Okay, so 4. I rolled a 1. So you are up first. So what do we see as you turn and race towards Roger?
So he shot bad guys, and does that sort of flying leap and sort of tackles Roger and is almost holding him down against the top of the trailer.
So let's do this just for the sake of learning. So if that was an attack, what you would do is check your fighting, then check your talents, and I think you've got martial arts C, right?
I do have martial arts C.
Martial arts C gives you +1 class for when you're grappling, so you count your fighting as 1 higher, and Roger is completely unaware, so I'm going to give you a +2 class modifier for that too. So what is your fighting? It's incredible.
Fighting is 40.
Yeah, incredible. So incredible, and then 1, 2, 3, unearthly.
Yep.
What you're rolling in. So go ahead and give me a fighting check, please. Whoa. Okay. So I think 51 is a yellow result. So what do you think actually happens here?
I don't know. Maybe they even go off the side and land, but Puck's able to sort of land sideways and get them both kind of down all the way onto the ground.
Yeah, I love that. So you grab him, and Roger's like, "Where are we going?" And you jump, and you both sort of fall down. And Roger, he sort of it rolls with you in this sort of heap, and it's down. And that's when you start hearing the first of the gunfire. And you hear the smashing of lights. Heather says, "There's something in here." And James, you sort of hear all of this, and you look over, and there are two guys who are dressed in basically like, kind of like green and tan camo, who walk in with night vision goggles on, both armed with submachine guns, who walk into the hangar. And I'm gonna say the hangar is split into two different areas, and then they're basically one area away from you. With your endurance, I think you can move 2 areas per turn. So what is it you do? What you can do as well, I'll give you some other options here. You can choose to make there are defensive actions in this as well. And what that does is it just makes other people's tests harder. So you could make, say, a dodge check. It's an agility test or agility feat. And then however well you do, if you take a look at the very top of the sheet there, dodging, depending on what result you get, that's how many class penalties they get to their attack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what do you want to do? I mean, you don't have to do that. That's just one option. You could also like make a run for the suit, but I mean, there's no power in it right now.
Right. So probably, is there only the one entrance to the hangar, or is there a back door?
Yeah.
Well, then I'm just gonna die here. So, I'll try to use my agility to set up a dodge so that they can't get to me.
Okay, go ahead and give me an agility feat, please.
Oh,
nice. What color result is that? Is that green?
73.
Yes.
Green.
Yeah, good.
If you spent 3, you get a yellow result.
Yeah, I might as well.
Okay. So for these guys, that's a big fat miss. And yeah. Okay, so they open fire because of the dodge. They open fire with their submachine guns, and it's sort of like you can picture the shit smashing and crashing all around you, but you dive roll behind one of the workbenches and then maybe even like pull it down in front of you, and you stuff the ring in your pocket. And you can sort of picture the way they describe it in the game, guys, is like if it can happen in one panel of a comic, that can happen in one round.
Right.
That's about it. We don't really have a firm kind of set for it. So, okay, so we're in round 2 then. I'm rolling initiative for them. I rolled a 4. Puck, you're rolling.
All right. Rolling initiative. I rolled a 5.
Nice. So I should have asked you guys to declare first, but what are you guys going to do this round? You just make up in your mind what you're doing. If you've decided what you're going to do, just remember that you can't change it. So you know what you're doing. Who wants to go first then?
Heather is inside the...
Heather's outside. There's something. So what Heather has seen is that there is some kind of like other device that's been attached to the pole. Would you give me a reason feat, please, with Heather with 1 column shift, +1. 34 against Incredible.
Just barely. Yeah.
This might be some kind of explosive. Like, so looks like someone might have been planning to take the power out, and because the thing malfunctioned, it didn't. There wasn't sufficient power going to it. Like, it looked like it was supposed to go off when the power went out this most recent time.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that fuck up beforehand, so someone put something here. Heather knows this was not here before.
Okay. Well, I think Puck's gonna run to warn Heather and probably do basically the same thing: tackle, charge, go prone.
Okay.
While Heather is probably going to, I don't know, I guess, do we think that if we turn the power back on, that would set off the explosive?
Well, that would depend on. So here's one thing that super smart folks can do. You could say, because remember, we're playing like effectively superheroes in this as well. You could say, like, take that explosive off and then use it, plant it somewhere else. She is a mechanical genius.
That is a good plan. So I think Heather's going to try to do that, and I guess we'll see. Maybe I'll roll to see who goes first.
I think you can hear Puck. There's someone who's going to be coming around the side of the what do you call it thing? Puck, knowing that there are fucking polar bears in this region, you definitely have a hunting rifle, and I think because of your military background, you got a pistol in the inside the trailer as well.
Okay, so I think Puck runs around the corner and sees Heather, and she points right at it, and he looks for a second, and then she makes a gun figure with her hand, and so he realizes, okay, don't grab her, go grab the gun.
Okay,
he's gonna run back inside.
Now I'm gonna give you another example here. You got a feat or a talent called acrobatics, right?
Yeah.
So, this is a dangerous situation. You could like jump up onto some, crate or something that's at the back of the thing and dive through one of the windows at the back to expedite getting inside.
That would be good. Seems like.
Okay. What's your agility?
Agility is 20. Excellent.
20. Okay. Then you get +1 class because of your tumbling feat. So it'll be remarkable is what you're rolling against. Go ahead and give me an agility feat, please. Oh.
All right. Green.
Yep. So you dive up, smash through, and tumble inside. You're a little bloodied, but I mean, this ain't the first time you've been in a fight. Let's see here. James, what are you doing this round?
James is going to try and improvise a weapon.
Okay, what's he thinking?
Well, he's thinking like he's here in the lab with all their stuff, and they've been talking all night about what they think that sort of blast that came off of the suit was. He's going to try and mimic it with some of the equipment in the lab on a smaller scale.
One of your prototypes was a what do you call it? Basically a magnetic drill.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to sort of pick up the magnetic drill and try and manipulate it so he can create the same effect as sort of, or
let's
hope he can.
I love that. So you're not going to, well, let's do this first. I'm going to let you make 2 actions here. You'll still be able to attack with this. Let's make a reason feat first to see if you can get this thing working. So that is, and then you also get the +1 column shift because, 84. Holy shit.
84 on amazing is
holy. Okay, so that's yellow.
It's yellow, yeah.
And you're 7 away from a red feat.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, so what that's going to do then is I'm actually going to bump the damage that this thing does for a couple of shots up to monstrous.
Wow, nice.
Okay, so now give me you activate this thing. I need you to make a agility test, please, or agility feat. This is you shooting these guys. So it's a shoot feat. Shooting. Ho ho ho! All right. So
yeah, that just makes green. Or no, it's in the middle of the green.
Okay. Now, to give you guys a sense, and you guys can tell that you guys have each have a health stat, right? Health is the sum of the first 4 stats of phase rip. So your fighting, agility, strength, endurance, all added together. Your karma is the last 3 added together. So your health, you can tell what you guys each have. James, who's okay, physically he's 56. Puck, who's a pretty badass, has got 90. Roger, who's, he's more of a lover than a fighter. He's got 24 health. These guys, just so I can kind of give some context to the damage doing, these guys have a health of 46, and they have typical armor, which means it reduces damage by 6. Your first blast here, James, is at monstrous damage, so it does 75 points of damage. You pew, 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 hit this. One of these guys goes flying, out of the thing and skittering along the thing like a broken doll.
Wow.
Yeah. Steve, what is Roger doing?
So Roger was going to put on one of his prototype neural net things and send up one of the drones that they have that they were working on this technology with that's lying around.
Yeah. Okay, so something he's been working on. So maybe you got little sticky things, right? Like you pull out and kind of to the side of your head. I love that. Okay, and then you these drones go up. Yeah, so you've got these drones. What were you trying to do with these drones?
I'm going to scope out the environment, see what we're up against a little bit.
Okay. So you think you sort of get them up and then activate the sensors. Give me an intuition check, and I'll give you a +2 column shift because of you've got multiple drones and they've got like multiple kinds of sensors.
So you said intuition?
Yes, please. So you not only have you detected set 91. What's your intuition with +2 column? Oh, that's for sure. What is your intuition? Typical. +2 column is excellent. So yellow feet. So yeah, there are precisely 6 soldiers who have come in to try and kill you guys. One of which you've just seen gone flying like a broken doll out of the hangar for some reason. Okay, so those things are with a yellow result. Did you want to draw fire from some of these guys?
Yeah, sure. I can buzz them around their heads. And
two of them are firing up at the thing. So 2 are gonna break into, like, bust the first door open. So they're gonna be in the same area as you, Puck. They're not gonna be able to attack this round, but there's 2 in the same area as you. There's one that's coming around the corner where Heather is. What's Heather gonna do? She's gonna pull that thing off of the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll say she does that because we get her off, and then James is gone this round. Okay, end of the round, guys. I'm gonna make one. Let's see, one attack on Roger for one of the guys who's coming around the corner. 59. Okay, so Rogelio, you are hit, and you take 20 points of damage from this burst fire. Ah! So, well, fuck, you've only got 4 left. Jesus. All right, so that is end of that round, guys. What do you think about what you're going to do this next turn? And then we'll roll initiative. I only got a 5, so Puck beat by 5.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Okay, so you guys get to go first. What are you guys doing? There's 2 soldiers that have come around the back where you are there, Steve-O. There's 1 soldier left with you, James, and there's 2 in the same area with you, Puck. What do you want to do? So here's the first thing. So let me just back up here. So what you can do, what is your fighting at base?
For me?
Yeah, your fighting stat.
Fighting stat is incredible, 40.
Okay. So if you wanted to, say, attack 2 different targets in the same round, what you do before you roll initiative is you make it's a remarkable difficulty. Because your fighting is incredible, that means you just need a green feat result or better. You can attack 2 with no penalty.
Okay.
Okay. If you fail, you get -2 classes to all your actions that round.
All right.
Okay. And then if you wanted to attack 3, I believe that is I think it's an amazing fighting chest. So like you can attack 1 target more than once as well. So you don't need to spread it around. You just get 2 attacks in that same round. Knowing that, would Puck have wanted to try and make 2 attacks this round?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is shoot twice was probably the way to go. So why don't I?
You're sort of in that common area right now, and they've just burst in the door. So they're sort of between you and the weapons right now.
Well, then 2 attacks still sounds like a good idea.
Okay. Give me a fighting test, and you get +1 class because of your what do you call it? Martial arts B.
Yep.
Whoa, nice. Okay, so 2 attacks, no penalties. What do you want to do?
So I'm gonna I guess hit the first one of them. Probably try to knock the gun out of his hands.
Yeah.
Is I think my.
Okay, so with a let's see, that'd be a blunt attack. If you get a slam result, I'll let you knock the gun out of his hand. So go ahead and
make another fighting.
Yeah, and +1 class because of martial arts B.
Ooh, not so good.
Okay, so you go racing in, and you're sort of like tussling with this guy.
Well, I can spend
karma.
I can spend karma. I can spend 4 points of karma to get up to a green at least.
Okay. So then what you do is now Puck has you have a what do you call it? You normally do damage equal to your strength with melee. So it'd be 10 points of damage. What you can do instead is he has that cartwheel attack as his special thing.
Yes.
Which does 20 damage instead.
Okay.
And you would use normally charging uses your endurance stat as the attack thing, but Puck's special thing is using fighting, so you would have made the same roll.
Okay.
So you'd have to spend a little more karma to get a hit, but yeah, you'd slam into these guys.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so bam, you hit this guy against the wall. He still doesn't drop the gun, but he takes 20 points of damage. Make a second attack on the same guy or a different guy?
I think attack on the other guy.
Yep.
And then fighting roll 60.
Ooh, 60. So that's a
that is
just
that
yellow.
is just enough.
Okay, so then the other guy, you sort of like race in and like tackle against this one guy who slams against the wall. The other guy turns his submachine gun to hit you, and you sort of kick out, and it's knocked out of his hands, skitters across the floor. James, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm gonna fire at the last guy that's in the room with me.
Another reason, Chuck. Let's see how much damage it does. The way I was scaling that is basically, I'll say it does damage equal to your reason. So you get this big kind of shit-eating grin on your face, and you turn to the other guy. You're like, ha ha, and you hear it kind of go, blip, blip, some sparks fly out, and nothing happens.
That's funny.
Roger, what are you doing? God, you just got shot for 20 points of damage.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
The adrenaline. Hard to notice.
I'm like, ow! Okay, so I send the drones looking for a first aid box.
Okay, well, if you do that, then the drones are likely enough. It's more of a body bag they're going to want. If you get hit like that again, you start dying.
Okay, well, I need to get cover here, don't I? I need to get out of here. Which way to go? All right, I gotta So I'm gonna like lurch out of that room and like.
Go ahead. Well, you're outside. Remember, you're still outside of the building.
Right.
What you could do is you could take a defensive action, Steve, and you could just make an agility test or agility feat, and that'll make it harder for them to hit you.
Okay, let's try it.
Okay. Go ahead and give me the agility feat. Come on. Oh, so you're kind of like, oh no. I think your agility is poor. So what you could do, Steve, you haven't spent any karma to get a green result, which would give -2 classes to theirs. It would cost you 28 karma.
Can you
what?
Can you spend karma against their rolls, like to make them worse? No.
That's what dodging does.
Okay.
Okay, let's spend the 28. Let's do it.
Okay. So subtract 20 from your 28 from your blue bar. That's your karma. They have -2 classes. Okay. Well, all right. So they open up. Shit. And the second one. Okay. So now we get to learn about the dying rules, guys. The thing, you're sort of running along, and you can feel you're kind of like, ha, 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 ha. And it's unlike like all your joking, all your kind of laughing and whatnot. This suddenly got really fucking serious as you lose sensation in your legs and you drop down, and the pain is so bad that it sort of fades away, and you're sort of everything gets kind of muffled, and you are now on the ground, potentially dying. So the one guy who is we got 2 guys inside. They're actually going to try and kind of fucking clobber you there, Puck. So one of them swings at you with the kind of blunt end of his what do you call it? His rifle, like the butt. Where is him? Where is him? He swings it at you. And you sort of like block it and push it aside. The other guy draws this knife out, tries to stab you. You see it coming from behind. You kind of and then kick him, and you're going to stagger his back. And that's the end of the round. Oh, no, we got one shooting on James, too. So, James, there's that guy who you tried to hit your thing at. Fucking 87. Bullseye. So, not only is he actually shoots that thing out of your hands, and you take 20 points of damage. It's kind of like, oh, shit. And you're not like it's not a solid hit on your body, but you can picture you're hitting the shoulder maybe, and it knocks you down. Okay. So you should be able. You can actually change that in your token if you want as well too. Okay, that is the end of the round, guys. Initiatize or make your decision of what you want to do.
How much longer are we planning on playing tonight?
Let's wrap up in 8 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry guys. I should have said.
No, it's cool. It's yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're about to be finished up. What are you guys doing?
All right. Puck, 2 more attacks.
Okay. Give me a fighting feat.
Yep.
Okay. I rolled a 1 on initiative, so I don't think you can lose to me.
My best to try.
So the +1 you get comes from your intuition. The
Okay.
higher your intuition score, the bigger your bonus is. So like guys like Daredevil, they always act first. Okay. So guys, what are you doing this round? Roger, I know I need an endurance feat from you, please.
Okie dokie. Roger tries to crawl under a bus and then jab some rocks into his wounds.
This is Heather does?
I said Roger.
Roger's not doing anything at this point.
Okay.
I mean, Heather can jump over and try to stymie his wounds.
All right. Hold on. Heather's making an endurance roll, sorry, or is it?
No, you're making an endurance roll, please.
Okay. My endurance is good.
Go. Nice. Okay, so you're not losing endurance this round. What happens is you start losing endurance ranks until you die.
All right.
Okay, so you're kind of and bleeding away. Puck, you've got 2 attacks this round. What do you want to do?
All right. Let me let's see. Of the 2, which of them I'm gonna just attack the one that's weaker twice.
Yeah, that's the guy who had the what do you call it? You hit the first time.
Yep.
Go ahead and make your attack. So first one here.
First one.
Ooh, 66 is... Oh, that's a yellow, right?
Yes, that is.
So that means you potentially slam him. He makes an endurance test, which he fucking turfed. So you slam him back into the wall. Basically, how do you see it happening where you knock him into the wall and he falls unconscious?
Well, I think he tried to get me with the butt of his gun, and I just sort of, essentially grab one end and do that lever action again, slam him with one end of it, and he, head goes cracking back and smack right into the wall.
Cool. When he's down, and then you got one more attack too.
One more attack. Even better.
Nice. So yeah, that's another green. All right, so he is slammed as well. 17 is not going to do it. So he hammer him. He flies back as well. I'm just going to say he's knocked out because he you knocked that thing out of his hand the first time. Okay, so yeah, wow. So he bam is down. James, what are you doing? You've been shot.
He will try to roll reason on this drill again.
Okay. So you pick it up and go ahead. Give me a reason check. Come on. Whoa.
Nice.
That is a yellow result, which means, let's see here. That'll be amazing damage. So, 50, which will be enough. Give me a agility check, please. So you sort of scramble forward. You grab this drill, spin around, bleeding.
Ugh.
Ooh. All right, so you need to spend 26 karma.
Oh, man. Well, I have it, so might as well.
Okay. And you sort of scramble around. You can hear him, running around the side of the thing. He's about to bring that submachine gun up. You sort of like jam some wires back in, and boom, this guy is flies up from where you are, hits the side of the building, and then boom, falls down completely still. Okay, now let's just jump into narrative stuff so we can wrap this up here. Puck, you go and grab your gun. Heather is dragging the shot Roger off into kind of into the wood, the grass to kind of get away from these two guys. We'll picture you two guys come around the corner and either with sonic gun or with your handgun, you take these guys down. That's 6 down. So what do you guys make of this? Roger looks like he needs medical care.
I think.
Yeah, we're quickly trying to help Roger.
So, if you check while you guys are doing that, Heather can check Roger's phone, and she fills you in about this stuff. About you don't have any idea what SHIELD is. Like that's why he was asking. But you can tell, James, as you're sort of looking through this, and Puck, I think because of your military background, you definitely know like first aid enough to sort of stabilize Roger.
What I was going to say, I think Puck's probably in kind of take command mode also.
Okay, yeah.
Military background that he's, all right, we need to stabilize Roger and then we need to get out of here because there's going to be reinforcements coming. We need to find a safe hideout or something like that to get to where can we go.
James, what you can tell from the emails, like your face is sort of ashen, and even more shock. They're trying to sell Roxanne, Jerry in particular. Jerry is trying to transfer the suit to the U.S. to be used as a weapon.
Yeah, we got to do something about it. So I won't let them use our weapon, sell it to the American military.
So Heather turns to you and says, we could do the stationary maneuver. And you know exactly what she means. This is a pretty experimental thing. Like moving that thing along, it's going to be pretty fucking difficult to move. But what you have theorized, and this is based on your theory, you're acting as part of the magnetosphere, right? But you know that the Earth moves through, orbit around the sun, and it rotates on its axis as well too. If you used the magnetic sphere to basically stay in place for a time, if you kept yourself as in a perfectly stationary place while the world rotated around you, you could move at a phenomenally fast rate. It's incredibly dangerous. I mean, to the visible eye, it would look as if you were teleporting.
Yeah,
you could potentially pull that up. Is there?
I think I would go for it.
Okay, so where are you guys going to meet up then? Rogers, Heather, and Puck. Where do you think you guys are going to You're way in the middle of fucking nowhere right now. The closest place is a town called Fort McMurray, which you can see on here. It's effectively it's a boom town. It's an oil boom town.
Right.
But it's also got a river, which would maybe make for a safe landing if you blow out everything.
Yeah, let's get out of here for sure. So let's go for Fort McMurray.
Okay. So you can't transport everyone else like that, obviously, but you could transport the suit. Roger's been stabilized by Puck. Heather can help you get things set up, and Puck. James, are you going to trust Puck with with Heather and with Roger then?
Yeah.
Okay. So Puck, what are you thinking here? What sort of the general strategy you're going to do? You guys have access to like a Jeep or some kind of 4x4 thing to get out of here?
Yeah, so we've got to obviously. I'm going to have Heather take over. No, I'm going to have Heather do the driving, and I'm going to do me on medical duty, just trying to hold the wounds closed, bandage them up as best as I can, and then go to a hospital probably.
Yeah, Fort McMurray is probably the closest hospital. Yep. You could call there's a thing called STARS. It's a emergency evacuation that operates the mountains too. But if you do that, it's likely that the authorities will know. Okay,
so don't want to do that. Let's go to the hospital.
Are you guys intending on leaving any trace of anything here? Because you got your hard drives full of data and whatever.
No, let's destroy it.
Okay, so what we see then is, everyone's loaded into the truck. You're getting ready to pull away, Puck. You guys activate everything, and then Heather comes running out to the car. Roger is secured as best he can be in back. And Heather, you're in the front. You've got now your fucking hunting rifle and your pistol with you, Puck. And the thing's powered up. James, once again, we see you stomp out into the kind of open area, but this time you don't go very far away. You look down and you push it now right to the reds, and the whole thing rises up. And you remember how you overloaded it before. So turning to the one building, and it destroys the hangar. Nothing's left. It's a shattered, concussed hulk. And you turn it on the building structure, and it's completely destroyed. So there's explosions from where it hits the natural gas and stuff like that. Sparks fly out. It's nothing but a ruin. Now it's a chance of making the alteration. This is something, if you miscalculate this, you could find yourself accidentally like somewhere off in orbit. And this does not have sufficient life support for that.
No, of course not.
All right. Did you have your ring on you still?
Yes, he did. It was still in his pocket.
Okay.
I totally forgot about it in all the chaos.
So you sort of up there and you're about to sort of check your pocket again, and you stop and think, what I'm going to let you do is this needs to be a red result.
Ooh.
But what's happening is, so it's going to be a reason with one column shift, but I'm going to let Heather, because she's clearly with you in that, Heather can spend karma on this as well.
Oh, cool.
Okay? So let's see what your test result is, though. You're sort of up there. There's a smoke rising up between you. Go ahead and give me a reason feat, please. No!
Oh my gosh!
What do you?
I only have 9 points. I can't. There's no way I can make that red.
So
even
what?
With 0 points.
Oh my god! This is so good. This is so Alpha Flight. Okay, so even with her, the most you could spend is 69, which brings it to oh my god! So James rises up, and then you disappear. And as you guys are meeting up in Fort McMurray, you've brought Roger to the emergency room. You're sort of sitting in the hospital, and you're waiting for a word from James. And there's no word. And you're waiting and waiting. The surgeons say that Roger is never going to walk again. He's going to live, but he was shot through the spine. He will be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his natural life. And Heather, as you're sort of staring off into space, kind of, because now, Jeff, you're now playing Heather. Actually, right. Puck, I think you're the one likely who's got not suffering a column penalty to intuition. Something weird's happening on TV. And you kind of look around and there's a remote there where you can turn the sound up. It's some guy. It's someone who you think you recognize that guy. You turn the sound up. It's a guy standing before a bunch of reporters at some kind of press conference. He's got his arm in a sling, and he seems like he's gesticulating quite wildly. And you kind of turn it up just in time to hear there's sort of a silence on it, and you kind of crank it up all the way to the maximum because you didn't realize that no one's talking. And the guy seems to be, deep in thought. He's got dark hair. He's got a mustache. He's got a beard. And he looks up and he says, "I am Iron Man." And that's where we'll leave the session. So awesome. Okay, so let's get out of. I know we went a little long there. We started half an hour late, and I really wanted to get the end of this one. Get out of the game here. Thanks to everybody for sticking around for that as well. I'll stop sharing and we'll make with the outro here. All right. Whoa, it's dark here. Let me put a light on. There we go. So for those listening at home, thanks so much for joining us for a very eventful session 1 of Alpha Flight of MCU Alpha Flight played using the Marvel Superheroes game. Jeff, I'll tell you this, I didn't intend this whatsoever. Remember how we went live and I told you like one of the first arc of Alpha Flight was just fucking bonkers?
Yeah.
It ends with James dying in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Like I think it's issue 12 of the original run of Alpha Flight. It ends with fucking James dying. So that is just fucking brilliant.
That's crazy.
And the post-credit scene for that would be Heather on the a cell phone, kind of away. Puck is off doing something else, and she's saying, "Hi, Uncle Jeremy, I need your help." And we'll leave that as the cliffhanger for next week, which we'll be picking up 3 years later.
Wow.
So anyway, for those listening at home, thanks so much for joining us for this special one-shot two-shot, I guess, for Alpha Flight Marvel Superheroes. That's fucking great. As always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will endeavor to respond in a timely fashion. Alternatively, you can reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings or by email at dungeonmusings@gmail.com. I'll also give a quick plug. In the description of the video, there is something called Heroes Save Villages. That's the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. And from now until July 1st, for every $25 that's donated to the charity, you get entered once into our charity raffle. The grand prize of that is a copy of the Platinum Edition of the Dragon Heist the Waterdeep Dragon Heist Adventure produced by Beetle and Grimm. Something you cannot get anymore. It's something that at the time of purchase was $500 US. So it's a really cool grand prize. You can see a video I shot of it in the link as well. So you can hear all about the other very cool prizes, which include core rulebooks for a bunch of other role-playing games, including RuneQuest Glorantha, Delta Green, both core books for that, Legend of the Five Rings. And this week we had show up the copy of the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition published by Cubicle 7. So lots of very cool prizes. You can hear all about it in that the link to the campaign. Any donations go to benefit the SOS Children's Villages International charity. So it all goes to help kids who benefit from the charity, kids who have been abandoned or orphaned, and the charity helps provide a home, basically a home and structure and support for these kids who otherwise would not have it. So it's a really great charity that benefits from you getting an opportunity to win some very cool gaming stuff. Last but not least, I want to thank my marvelous players for joining me tonight for this maiden voyage into Marvel Superheroes. It's been about 25 fucking years since I've run that. I had a ton of fun. What did you guys think of it?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, you got shot there, Steve-O. And next week, we will be getting a chance to meet some other members of Alpha Flight, including a certain former football player come physicist. So we'll have to see what happens then next week. So again, guys, thanks so much for playing. Arlen, Jeff, Steve-O, thanks for playing tonight, guys. I had so much fun playing Alpha Flight. For those listening at home, thanks again for joining us for this crazy session of MCU Alpha Flight. We hope you've enjoyed, and we'll hope to see you again next week. Until then, happy gaming.